from ADSCO headquarters in Bayugan. This is Daily Newscast. In the headlines, recipe. The standardization of recipe. Standard recipe. Accurate weighing and measuring. Cost control. Calculate food costs in a restaurant.
News with no bias, news with no exceptions, including nothing but the truth. It is March 17, Friday. Good morning, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And you are watching Daily Newscast. Recipe is a set of instructions that describe how to prepare a certain dishes, including list of ingredients required. Standardization of recipe is necessary for many reasons. The standard recipe is a written formula for producing a food item of a specified quality and quantity for use in a particular establishment. Lori Pepito has the news.
A recipe is essentially a list of directions and ingredients needed to produce a certain food, dish, or beverage. Individuals use recipes to recreate things they like but are unable to prepare on their own. To ensure that a dish tastes the same every time it is requested, chefs utilize recipes. The standardization of recipe is when the exact steps, tools, and ingredients are used. It is consistently delivers a high quality and yield. The standardized recipe aids in ensuring that the greatest food products are consistently produced. Every time the recipe is made, the same components and amounts are used, so the price per serving stays the same. Based on the information supplied on the recipe, the quantity of ingredients required for the manufacture can be easily estimated. Standard recipes provide consistently excellent food that has undergone extensive testing and evaluation. It regulates portion size, which is crucial for a dish's cost. The price of a certain dish's food can be easily uncertain, and it listens to the change of error. Standardized recipes encourage cooking inventiveness. Based on the information on the recipe, it is simple to calculate how many ingredients are required for manufacture. For the truth and accuracy, this is Lori Pepito reporting for the Daily Newscast. Back to studio.
It is important when designing standardized recipes. The correct weights and measures are recorded. Charlene Apone has the news.
Accurate weighting and measuring. It is important that when designing standardized recipe, the correct weight and measure are recorded to achieve consistency, so no matter who prepares the dish, the same standard portion size and quality is achieved. Each recipe should tell you the following. First, the ingredients to be used. Second, the exact amount of ingredients required. Third, how the dish prepared. Fourth, how the dish cooked. Fifth, the number of portion it will produce yield. Check ingredients, weight, and time to ensure a successful dish. First, the right ingredients and equipment. Second, the correct weight. Third, enough time to prepare the dish. To facilitate menu planning, purchasing and internal requisitioning, food preparation and production, and portion control. First, know the food cost per portion. Second, know the nutritional value of a particular dish. Standard recipe will also help new staff in the preparation and production of a standard products, which can be made easier by using photographs, drawings, illustrating the finished product. For the truth and accuracy, this is Charlene Apone reporting for Daily Newscast.
This advertisement is brought to you by Hugat Catering Services. Making food special, more than just food. Our only limit is your imagination. Perfect catered affairs, pleasantly served.
Cost control is the process or activity on controlling costs associated with an activity, process, or company. Rafael Calo has the news.
Cost control typically includes 1. investigative procedures to detect variance of actual cost from budgeted cost. 2. Diagnostic procedures to ascertain the cause of variance. And 3. Corrective procedures to effect realignment between actual and budgeted costs. It is important to know the exact cost of each process and every item produced. So, a system of cost analysis and cost information is essential. It will reveal the possible ways to economize and can result in more effective use of stores, labor, materials, and so on. Costing provides the information necessary to develop a sound pricing policy. Cost records helps provide speedy quotation for all special functions such as parties, wedding receptions, and so on. It enables the caterer to keep to a budget, and no one costing system will automatically suit every catering business. The cooperation of all departments is essential. The costing system should be adapted to a cost analysis, the process of breaking down the cost of an operation into all its separate parts so it is possible to look at the exact cost of each process and every item produced, and judge the efficiency of cost effectiveness of each. Advantages of an efficiency costing system are as follows. 1. It tells you the net profit made by each sections of the organization and shows the cost of each meals produced in the business. 2. Clear instruction in the writing must be given to staff that are required to keep records. The system must be made as simple as possible so the amount of clear works required is kept to a minimum. An efficient mechanical calculator or computer should be provided to save time and effort. To calculate the total cost of any one item or meal provided, it is necessary to analyze the total expenditure under several headings. Basically, the total cost of each item consists of the following three main elements. First, food and materials cost. These are also known as variable cost because the level will vary according to the volume of business. In an operation that uses part-time or extra staff for a special occasion, the money paid to this staff also comes under variable cost. By comparison, salaries and wages paid regularly to a permanent staff are fixed costs. Second, labor costs and overheads. Regular charges comes under the headings of fixed costs, which includes labor and overheads. Labor costs in the majority of operation fall into two categories: direct labor costs and indirect labor costs. Direct labor costs, which is salaries and wages paid to staff such as chefs, waiter, bar staff, housekeepers, chambermaids, which are allocated to income from food, drinks, and accommodation sales. Indirect labor costs, which will include salaries and wages paid. For example, to manager, office staff, and maintenance staff, who work for all departments. Overhead consists of rent, rates, heating, lighting, and equipment. Third, cleaning materials. It is an important group of essential items that is often overlooked when costing. There are over 60 different items that comes under this heading, and approximately 24 of these may be required for an average catering establishment. This may include brooms, brushes, buckets, clothes, drain rods, dusters, mops, spongers, spongers, vacuum, detergent, disinfectant, washing up liquids, fly sprays, steel wool, soap, soda, and so on. It is important to understand the cost of these materials and to ensure that the allowance is made for them under the heading of overheads. Labor means the cost of employing staff. Gross profit is the difference between the cost of an item that price it is sold at. It is important to express each element of cost as a percentage of selling price. This enables the caterers to control profits, and net profit is the difference between the selling price of the food or sales and the total cost of the product or food labor and overheads. For truth and accuracy, this is Rafael Calo reporting for Daily Newscast. Back to studio.
Know your food cost before adding a new dish to your menu. Princess Dimana has the news.
How to calculate food cost in a restaurant. Know your food cost before adding a new dish to your menu. It doesn't matter that you have a best menu in town, a high traffic location, beautiful decor, and reviews if your restaurant charges $250 for a meal that costs you $300 to serve. your cost to serve a meal including both overhead cost and the actual food on the plate. Miscalculating either is a recipe for disaster. Step 1. List the ingredients of the dish you are appraising. Include even a small amount of food, including a squirt of ketchup or a spoonful of mayonnaise. Don't forget to account for cooking oil, seasonings, and garnishes as well. Every dish should be portioned and controlled to ensure each chef serves the same meal at the same cost. Step 2. Calculate the cost of each ingredients in each dish. For example, if a tomato costs 25 cents and each one yields 8 slices, the tomato cost for a dish that includes 2 slices will be about 6 cents, including a proportion of any delivery fees, interest, returns, and charges, or other expenses directly related to purchasing foods. Step 3. Add the total cost of the ingredients to calculate your food cost for that dish. Do not include the labor cost to prepare or serve the dish. Step 4. Divide the menu price by the food cost to determine the percentage of the price that comes from food to begin determining if you have priced the meal correctly. For example, if you have sell a meal for 180 and your food cost for that meal are 60 pesos, your food cost is 33%. Step 5. Calculate your overhead cost per meal served. This includes all of the non-food costs to run your restaurant, such as labor, rent, marketing, taxes, and other expenses. Determine the daily overhead cost to run the restaurant and divide that by the number of customers you will estimate you will serve each day. For example, if your overhead is 2,000 per day and you serve 250 customers daily, your overhead cost per person is 8, including allowance for employees, meals, and food in the overhead figure, since these are not direct costs to serve a customer meal. Step 6. Determine the target food cost percentage you want for your menu items. Use your overhead costs to guide you. If you feel your market will not support meals that cost more than 14 pesos, your chef will need to prepare menu items for no more than 4 each. If you sell meals for less than 14 pesos, your chef will need to use less than 4 of ingredients per meal, using your 29% guide. Step 7. Examine your current menu prices to determine whether they cover your overhead and food cost and return a profit. Use the target food cost percentage to do this. For example, if you determine that your food cost can be no more than 20% and a particular meal uses 4 pesos of ingredients, you must sell that meal for at least 20 pesos. Step 8. Determine whenever you need to calculate a different food cost percentage for different services or items. For example, a low-cost breakfast menu might require food cost to be less than 20% of the ticket since profit margins are small. A more expensive dinner menu might support food cost as high as 35% per plate. Step 9. Analyze your sales by item to see if your food cost percentage can support your business. If you determine that you are selling mainly low-cost items, you may need to raise those prices or lower your food cost to be profitable. Look at the total food cost per service and divide that by total sales to get a more complete picture of your food cost without having to calculate the actual cost of each menu item. For truth and accuracy, this is Francis Dimana reporting for Daily Newscast. Back to studio.
Thank you for watching. Again, this is Daily Newscast. News with no bias, news with no exemptions, including nothing but the truth.
This advertisement is brought to you by Lori's Catering Services. Catering for all, catering by design. Celebrated in gracious settings among family and friends.